दे दी हमें आजादी बिना खड्ग बिना ढाल, साबरमती के संत तूने कर दिया कमाल। दे दी हमें आजादी बिना खड्ग बिना ढाल, साबरमती के संत तूने कर दिया कमाल। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। So, welcome back students to another lesson today, and I'm sure you must have guessed what is the lesson today. Yes, and it is right, it is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. We are going to do the lesson Mahatma Gandhi from your best days. So, we all know about Mahatma Gandhi, isn't it? And last year we had a year-long celebration of the Gandhi Jayanti, 150 years of Gandhi Jayanti we celebrated last year, and you must have some wonderful memories of all the experiences, of all the events that we had, isn't it? So what was he known as? Mahatma Gandhi, he was also known as Bapu. That means the father of the nation. He had been given this title in lovingly by all the people of India. He was called the father of the nation. A lot of reasons for that, isn't it? There were a lot of reasons for that. And the very name Mahatma, that was not his original name. His name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And why was he called the Mahatma? So we know all the reasons why. He was not only a political leader, but he was also a spiritual leader, and he was the one who brought about India's independence. Under his leadership, India is believed to be set free from the British rule. Am I right? Yes. So let us take out our books, page 51, and take a pencil in your hand and get ready for the lesson. Okay? So Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, known across the world as Mahatma Gandhi, is widely acknowledged as the most influential political and spiritual leader. So please underline, he was not only the political leader, but he was also the spiritual leader. So you'll have to know that. Very rare combination, isn't it? For a political leader to also be a spiritual leader, it's very rare. So he was one of them, and that is why he's called the Mahatma. And did you know that he was not only responsible for India's independence, he was also responsible for independence of other countries. Can you name one such country? Yes, South Africa. Yeah. Nelson Mandela was deeply influenced by Mahatma Gandhi and his Satyagraha. Like it says here, he taught us the power of Satyagraha. And what is Satyagraha? A means of resistance to unjust laws and practices through mass civil disobedience based on total non-violence. Now that is very important. Non-violent. He did not believe in violence at all. And he did not shed even a drop of blood for attaining this independence, isn't it? So he had different kinds of movements, and under his Satyagraha policy, non-violent. Everything was very, very non-violent. And you can say that the modern people nowadays, whenever there is something unjust, when we want to protest against certain laws or certain activities of people or certain decisions made by the government, when people want to protest, there is a mass satyagraha, there is candlelight march. Have you observed all those things, students? So who was the initiator of all this? It was the Mahatma Gandhi. He has showed us the way how to do this satyagraha without any violence. In fact, when your mother stops talking to you when you do something wrong, or when your sister starts ignoring you when you don't listen to her, or your brother or anybody at home, your dada dadi, sometimes that is all, the credit all goes to Mahatma Gandhi. He has showed us the way how to win the battle without fighting. Yes, so let us know about him. And this book tells us everything about the childhood days. And see, every leader or every great person, the seeds are sown in his childhood, isn't it? A man is what he is by the foundation. See, the foundation, the bricks of the foundation, They are the ones who build the character of a human being. So all the seeds are being sown in the childhood. So let us see what were those ingredients which proved to make the Mahatma that he was. Okay. So this has inspired movements for civil rights and freedom in many countries since the struggle for Indian independence, that is the Satyagraha movement, affectionately called Bapu, or Father of the Nation, in his lifetime. Mahatma Gandhi has officially been accorded the honor of being called the Father of the Nation. The UN General Assembly has unanimously declared, UN means United Nations, has declared October 2nd, that is today, his birthday, as the International Day of Non-Violence. So there we are. So in his memory, it is also called the International Day of Non-Violence. Gandhiji's childhood and formative years, that is formative years where the seeds are being sown, when he's being shaped, his future is being shaped. Formative years have been described by him as experiments with truth and right and wrong that helped him to develop a strongly moral and determined character. In his autobiography, you must check the story of my experiments with truth is Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, and which helped him to develop a strongly moral and determined character. He became such a morally upright person because of his childhood years. It was the strong character that led the Indian community's struggle for civil rights in South Africa and the nationwide campaigns for the alleviation of poverty, for the liberation of women, for unity and fellowship among different religions, communities. Also, most importantly, untouchability. Remember, I'm sure you must have heard about the Harijans. He was the one who spoke about untouchability, and in fact, this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, okay, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was actually started by Mahatma Gandhi. You know that. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has Gandhiji's spectacles. He has those Gol Gol Chashma, and that is the Swachh Bharat, that is the logo. Why is it? It is actually, the Safai Swachh Bharat Abhiyan did not actually start to clean India. It was with the objective of giving these Harijans, that is the untouchable, they were called the Harijans, to give them an equal status in the society. That means when we start picking up the broom and start, cleaning the city or out on the roads, we are telling everybody, declaring it to everybody that there is no difference between a Jamadar and me. There is dignity of labor. That is what I mean to say. There is dignity of labor, and just because a person is a Safai wala or a Jamadar, that doesn't mean that I should look down upon him. And all this goes back to the caste system. Remember, in those days, early days, caste system was very prevalent, especially when Mahatma Gandhi was alive. During his time, caste system was so very, very prevalent, and people started looking at the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas. They started thinking themselves as some gods, nothing less than gods, and they started treating people, the Shudras, as chichi, jao jao, dur se jao, this kind of a feeling. So to bring about a balance in the society and to drop away these mindless rituals, he started this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, so that everybody picks up a broom. See, you see Narendra Modi also sweeping the streets. You saw even great personalities, Bollywood Bollywood people also, Akshay Kumar, and you saw Hema Malini. They were all sweeping the city. Why? Because we do not believe in this untouchability. That is why. I must tell you, when I was young and I was very young, around maybe class 4 or class 5, but I still remember that when the Jamadar was supposed to come home for cleaning, he would come every day to clean all the bathroom area and everything. My Nani, she was always particular about that she would take away if there are some clothes dried up, in the corridor over there, she would take them off because it was time for the Jamadar to come. So she would take it away because she did not want any cloth to be touched by him. None of us were allowed to go there when it was time for the Jamadar to come. Nobody, so that we could not knock into each other sometime by mistake if we touch. We are not supposed to touch him. Even when she would give water, she would give water from far up above, like this, uppar se pani, aise she would throw. I would ask Nani, why are you behaving so strangely with this Jamadar? She said, Tum, you don't know anything, you move away. She would quieten us. We didn't question her other, we didn't understand at that time. Now when I grew up, or maybe later also when I grew up, then I understood that she was so fixed to that caste system because she was one who belonged to that age. My Nani, she was so old, isn't it? So if she had been alive today, she would have been more than 100 now. So therefore, that's why. Okay, so she belonged to that region. She passed away many years back. So that's what I'm trying to say, that people had this stigma, this kind of a feeling about untouchability, which is wrong. Now he wanted this economic self-sufficiency of the nation, and that is why he started the Charkha. Remember Gandhiji and the Charkha? That is very, very symbolic, that he wanted to start Kapas India. That means he wanted to make cotton in India, and he wanted to make this an indigenous cottage industry. Indigenous means something which is made in India or in the own country, and above all for Swaraj, that is for complete freedom. India's freedom from foreign rule, it was Mahatma Gandhi's call to make the British quit India in 1942. That was the name of his movement, Quit India movement, that mobilized the entire nation. In his years of struggle, Gandhiji was imprisoned for many years. Many times he went to jail, and he was finally felled by an assassin's bullet on January 30th, 1948. Now he was killed by assassination. A leader, when a political leader is killed or murdered, it is said assassinated. That is the word used. So he was shot by a person, a fanatic. He was a lunatic. He was a madman, Nathuram Godse, who killed him, and he died on 30th January 1948. Now, what was the most important thing that inspired Gandhiji is the story of Harishchandra. Please number it. Page 52. The story of Harishchandra, the king who stood by the truth in all circumstances. Have you all heard of the story of Harishchandra? He never told a lie to anybody. So in those days, there were no movies. So they had gone to see a play. And in that play, he saw Raja Harishchandra. He lost his whole country. He lost everything. But he did not take recourse to lying. But it is so easy for us to lie. Yeah. मम्मी डांट देगी, चलो झूठ बोल देते हैं. मम्मी असेसमेंट का रिजल्ट अभी तक नहीं आया, वी डिडंट गेट द रिपोर्ट कार्ड. अभी तो नहीं बोल सकते, अभी एवरीथिंग इज ऑनलाइन, योर मदर इज गेटिंग टू सी द ईमेल्स, बट आई एम जस्ट सेइंग, रिमेंबर दोज डेज व्हेन यू गॉट द असेसमेंट नोटबुक एंड फीडबैक छुपा दिया. नहीं मम्मी अभी तक नहीं मिला, अभी तक नहीं मिला. You've got a 0 in that, or maybe you've got very poor marks. So what is it? Why are we lying? Because we want to save ourselves from a difficult situation. And look at Raja Harishchandra. He lost his own country, he lost everything of his country, his family, yet he said hum jhoot nahi bolenge. So he was very touched by that story, and that incident remained with him, and he never told a lie. Gandhi. Okay, so that is number 1. Number 2 is another thing is that, so you can mark this page 53, I will never swerve from the path of truth and be ever truthful and honest like Harishchandra. You can mark that and number it as 1. Now, he was born in 1869, 2nd October in Porbandar on the Saurashtra coast. You know, he's in Gujarat. He was born in Gujarat, isn't it? So he was Gujarati, and he was the youngest son of Karamchand Gandhi, the Diwan or Prime Minister of Porbandar, and his wife Putli Bai. So Putli Bai was his mother. Name of his mother was Putli Bai, not his wife, his father's wife. When Mohandas was 7 years old, his family moved to Rajkot, another place in Gujarat. That was the place where he spent his childhood. Although the family retained the link with Porbandar, he always had a link with that. Now in Rajkot, little Mohandas avoided all company. Now he was this is the second influence that he had in his life. So he was a big coward, you know, when he was young. He was very scared of ghosts. Yeah. So I think those who have seen the Founders Day drama last year, you must be remembering. Yes, the whole thing was on the life of Gandhi, and these incidents were mentioned there. And he was so scared, and he would always, on his way back from school, he would hurry. He would not talk to anybody. He never used to mingle with anybody. He would run back home. So why was that? Because he was scared, because he was very shy. He was a very shy personality. And to imagine that one shy boy who never even talked to his friends in class, he becomes a big leader, and he leads the country into independence. Isn't it something extraordinary? So all those shy students out here, all is not lost. Tell your parents that you never know what is in store for you in the future. Fine, you may also become something very unimaginable. So this excessive timidity once made Rambha, the maid at home, ask him, why are you so frightened? Now, he was so frightened all the time. He would get scared, and he would go and hug the mummy or Rambha. Rambha was the maid at home. So one day Rambha said, Ram ji ka naam liya karo. Kabhi nahi problem hoga tumko. Just think of Lord Rama. Lord Rama will solve all your problems. So from that day it was like magic, and he became a Ram Bhakt. And that is why on the last day, 30th January 1948, the last parting words from Mahatma Gandhi's mouths were, Hey Ram. That were the last words that he said, Hey Ram. Okay. And so he always thought of Rama. He remembered Rama. And that was a turning point in his life. So you can mark it as number 2. He got freedom from his fears because of the maid Rambha. Okay. And thus was the last line of page 53. Thus was laid the foundation of a whole life of unshakable faith. You can underline that. As a boy, it was his mother's wholehearted love. Now, this is his mother's influence in his life. Number 3. His mother had a very big, strong influence on his life. She was her wholehearted love and strong. She was a very strong woman, very strong willpower. So his dedication and all that was got from his mother. She lived an austere life. Austere life means very pure life, very pious life. She used to do a lot of puja part, and made him move towards mastering his own selfish and lesser impulses. Why do people do a lot of fasting? Because they want to control over their bodies. Because when we want to have a pizza, it's a big, Mummy, please, Mummy, bahut money, Mummy, pizza, la do na, pizza, la do na. So when you can control that emotion, when you're really hungry, when you can control that emotion, so you can feel that if you can conquer yourself, you can conquer anything. So that is the feeling which his mother taught him. So he also learned the importance of fasting and learning these kind of how to control his own selfish and lesser impulses. Lesser impulses. See, lesser impulses means, when you want to do something very silly or something which is very selfish, जो सिर्फ अपने लिए है, which is only for yourself. It is not for other people. So when you have an impulse means a big, strong desire. When you want to do something very big, like for example, I want to make my country free, that is not a lesser impulse. That is a great impulse. You should not control those. But lesser impulse, today I want to have a pizza. That is a lesser impulse. Today I want to go to sleep now. I don't want to study anymore. That is a lesser impulse. Okay, so he learnt all these. Perhaps it was the abundant love that she showered on him that led him to his later being able to embrace all of humanity. Because he got so much of love from his mother, he was able to give that love back to humanity. See, whatever we give, we shall distribute. Okay. So while from her influence he imbibed the Jain influence. He was a Jain also, okay, Gujarati Jain. Many Gujaratis are Jain, yes, such as tenets of non-injury to living beings. Now Jainism does not believe in hurting other human beings. Vegetarianism, fasting for self-purification, mutual tolerance, all these are Jain what do we say, elements of Jainism which he has imbibed. So you can say Jain influence is number 4. And number 5 is, at the very tender age, at 13, he got married to Kasturba, who taught him the power of silent resistance. Now, Kasturba, he used to have fights with his wife. And they were young, isn't it? 13, 14-year-old. In those days, people used to get married very early. So they would fight like small children. They would fight. And But Kasturba never said anything. She would be quiet. Cold War. Chup, ekdam. So he learned this silent non-violence. Who was his teacher? His own wife, Kasturba, was a quiet and determined person. And when Mohandas tried to bend her to his will, he found that she resisted in a non-violent but very resolute fashion. She would not say much, but she would not obey also. So she made herself very clear that I am not going to dance to your tunes. I have a mind of my own. So he understood that. Many years later, Gandhiji recalled in an interview what he had learned from Kasturba. Please underline. This is Kasturba's influence. Number 5. Her determined resistance to my will and her quiet submission to the suffering of my stupidity. Stupidity, he used to laugh at all those stupid things which he used to do. Ultimately made me ashamed of myself and cured me of thinking that I was born to rule over her. The typical, husbands, they feel that they have a supreme thing, that I am the best and my wife is supposed to just listen to me. She's supposed to obey my orders. That was what was thought in those days, and even now some husbands do think. Fine, you must have seen in many families. But now things are changing, but he understood his folly. He understood his mistake, and therefore I was born to rule over her, and in the end she became my teacher in non-violence. Okay, so we will stop here, the 5 influences of Mahatma Gandhi, and we will continue this in the next video next week. Okay, so I'm sure you can do something. You can watch some wonderful videos on YouTube and try to get some more information about Mahatma Gandhi. There are many interesting episodes, snippets, so we can discuss in the online class. Okay, till then, happy Gandhi Jayanti.